The house is too quiet now. I sit in this chair by the front window. I watch the cars go down the street. I watch the people walking their dogs. I realize that nobody in those cars or on the sidewalk knows I am sitting here. And the hardest part is knowing that I chose this quiet. I built it myself. I am 89 years old. My hands shake when I hold my coffee cup in the morning. My knees ache before it rains. But the physical pain is nothing. The physical pain is just biology. The real weight is the silence. When I was in my 30s, I was a very busy man. I thought busy meant important. I carried my briefcase like it was a shield against the world. I walked fast. I spoke fast. I always had somewhere to be. I told myself I was doing it all for them, for my wife, for my son. I truly believed that every late night at the office was a down payment on a better future. I thought I was a good man doing the right thing, but I was never really in the room. Even when I was sitting at the dinner table, my mind was somewhere else. I was thinking about tomorrow's meeting. I was thinking about the mortgage. My son would tell me about his day at school, and I would nod. I would make the right facial expressions, but I was not listening. I was just waiting for him to finish so I could go back to my thoughts. I thought I had plenty of time to listen later, when things slowed down, when I retired. His name is David. When he was 12, he wanted to play the trumpet. We rented an instrument from the music store. He was not very good at it. It sounded terrible. But he practiced every evening in his bedroom. I used to come home from the city, tired, my head pounding from the commute. That noise would grate on my nerves. I told him to practice in the garage. I told him I needed peace and quiet after a long day of providing for the family. He stopped playing the trumpet a few months later. I did not even notice he had stopped until years after. I silenced my own son because my boss had yelled at me, because I had a headache, because I thought my temporary comfort was more important than his joy. I would give everything I own to hear that terrible trumpet sound right now, to walk down the hall and see him sitting on the edge of his bed, trying to learn a song. But the house is quiet. My wife, Helen, was a patient woman. She waited for me. She waited through the late dinners. She waited through the weekends I spent on the golf course with clients. We always talked about retirement. That was the magic word in our house. We said, when I retire, we will travel. When I retire, we will sit on the back porch and drink our coffee slowly. We put all our living into a savings account that we could not touch for 40 years. Helen loved to plant tomatoes. Every spring, she would buy those little green wire cages. She would dig in the dirt by the back fence. She always asked me to come help her, just to dig the holes. I always said I had paperwork, or I was watching the news. I told her I did not want to get my shoes muddy. Mud on my shoes, that was my excuse. It sounds so absurd now. I would watch her through the kitchen window. She was on her knees, working the soil, wiping sweat off her forehead. I saw her, but I did not appreciate her. I just thought, we have 50 more springs. I will help her next year. I never helped her. Not once. The last spring she was alive, she was too weak to plant them. I went to the store and bought the cages and the dirt. I dug the holes. I planted them for her. I brought her to the window in her wheelchair to show her. She smiled and thanked me, but her smile was sad. We both knew I was 39 years too late. We had all those plans for retirement. We got exactly 3 years of it. 3 years. Then the doctor found the spot on the x-ray. She was gone 6 months later. All those years I was saving her for later. Saving us for later. And later was just an empty hospital room. Life does not keep until you are ready for it. I used to have friends, real friends. There was a guy named Arthur. We started at the firm together in 1962. We shared a tiny office. We ate terrible sandwiches from a vending machine. We were broke and hungry, and we thought we were going to conquer the world. When I got promoted before him, things changed. I started eating lunch with the partners. I told Arthur it was just networking, just playing the game. I stopped dropping by his desk. A conversation turned into a nod in the hallway. A nod turned into a Christmas card. The Christmas card turned into silence. I always told myself I would call him next weekend. But next weekend is a dangerous thing to believe in. 5 years ago, I saw his name in the obituary column. He died of a heart attack, survived by a wife and 4 grandchildren. I sat at my kitchen table and stared at his name. I had not spoken to him in 40 years. I let a promotion stand between me and a man who once gave me half his sandwich when I could not afford lunch. I traded Arthur for a corner office. The corner office is gone. Arthur is gone. I look around this house now. I spent my middle years buying things I did not need. I bought a bigger house in a better neighborhood. It meant longer hours. It meant more stress. But I thought it was what a successful man was supposed to do. I wanted the neighbors to see the car in the driveway. I wanted them to know I was doing well. It takes a woman an hour every week to clean rooms in this house that I have not walked into for months. The things you own end up owning you. I traded hours of my life, days of my son's childhood, to pay for wood and glass and empty space. There was a Tuesday afternoon, about a year after Helen passed. I was sitting in the same chair. I was looking at a shelf across the room. There was a vase she loved, and right beside it, a stack of blank photo albums we had bought for the trips we never took. The house was completely silent. The clock was ticking in the hallway. I realized, in that exact second, that the future I spent 40 years preparing for did not exist. It was a ghost. The only thing that ever existed was the present, and I slept right through it. Now I wake up at 6 in the morning, and I have nothing to do. My son calls me every Sunday at 4 o'clock. We speak for 10 minutes. He is polite. He asks about my health, but he does not really know me, and I do not really know him. How could we? I was not there when he was becoming whoever he is now. I paid for his college, but I did not know his heart. He is 55 now. He is busy. He tells me about his meetings. He tells me about his mortgage. He is distracted on the phone. I can hear him typing on his computer while we talk. He is making the exact same mistakes I made, and I cannot stop him. I have a lot of money in the bank. The retirement accounts are full. They send me statements every month. I look at the numbers. They are large numbers. I traded my eyesight, my knees, my wife's company, and my son's youth for those numbers. If I could take a match to those statements and buy back one afternoon in 1974, I would do it. I would sit on the floor and play blocks with my boy. I would look at my wife and tell her she is the only thing that matters. But the bank does not accept that kind of currency. You cannot buy it back. That is the hardest lesson, the finality of it. When I was 30, every mistake felt fixable. If I missed a baseball game, there would be another one next week. I operated under the illusion of an endless supply of chances. It made me careless. I was reckless with my time. I treated it like it was cheap. I walk through the grocery store now. I see young fathers. They are pushing the cart. Their child is in the seat, trying to show them a toy, trying to get their attention. But the father is looking at his phone. He is frowning at an email. He is annoyed by the interruption. I stand by the apples, and I watch him. I want to walk over and shake him. I want to tell him that the email does not matter. The job does not matter. The person who sent the email will replace him a week after he dies. But that child is his only real legacy. I want to tell him, but I do not. He would not listen. I would not have listened. It happens to you quietly. You will not notice it on a Tuesday. You will not notice it when you decide to stay late at work just this once. You will not notice it when you tell someone you will see them soon and then let 5 years pass. It is a slow leak, a tire losing air so gradually You do not realize you are driving on the rim until the wheel shatters. You think you are building a life, but you might just be building a waiting room. The waiting is over, and there is no one left in the room.